Well, boys and girls, we haven't won a match in the league for over 2 months, but we're still only a couple of points outside the playoffs and only a couple of points outside of the relegation zone. This league is bananas. I have no idea what position in it we're going to finish. As mentioned, 6th place. We are 3 points behind Raith Rovers in the playoffs. And, okay, to be fair, there is a slightly bigger gap to St Johnstone, but Inverness, we're only 2 points ahead of, and they're in 8th. But we haven't won in the league since these back-to-back victories over Partick Thistle and Airdrie, and we have those back-to-back games coming up again. So this little run is a run we're supposed to do quite well in based on previous form, so we need to start this stream off with some wins. It hasn't been going very well. So fingers crossed we can pick up some wins. I will remind everyone, of course, that we are the only semi-pro team in the league and we're supposed to finish bottom. So it's fine that we're mid-table, but we would obviously like to get promoted. The only way we're going to break through the glass ceiling is to break through the glass ceiling. We've got ourselves into a vicious cycle where in order to go professional, we need to get promoted, but we're not going to get promoted unless we go professional. And yeah, it loops, and we're now hemorrhaging money. We're massively overdrawn. The projection does not look good at all. We do move back into our own stadium in 4 months' time, which is going to have almost double the capacity of the one we're currently playing in. But that doesn't necessarily fix this, and it certainly doesn't help us out with the whole needing to get into the Premiership because there's money there, presumably. Although not the kind of money there is in England. But there's still money. There's still a route into Europe. I mean, even finishing bottom of the Championship gets you over £1 million. £1 million sorts out our financial problems. At our level, finishing where we're likely to finish is like 200,000. So we need that. We need the promotion. And then we need to go professional. And we need a bigger stadium. And maybe a really good youth intake. And some good signings. And a striker. So that's all we need. So I think it's doable. We turn this ship around tonight, boys and girls. You'll all be disappointed to know I haven't hired the guy who was recruiting for the, who was applying for the editor vacancy last night. I have temporarily rehired Tofu for the evening. So he's safe for now. I might sack him again. Who knows? What's the lowest ranked team I've won the quad with? By the quad, I assume you mean the 3 English domestic trophies in a Champions League? I don't know that I've ever done that. By the time I'm competing for the Premier League and the Champions League, I certainly don't care about the League Cup, and I don't really care about the FA Cup. So winning all 4 of them in one season isn't something I ever really tried to do. I think I did it with Spurs years ago. But it's not something I ever try to do or do on a regular basis. Any fans who... Why am I making substitutions now? Any fans who take the Carabao Cup seriously are pathetic. Imagine celebrating a Carabao Cup win. You'd have to be a proper bunch of happiness-starved losers. But no one would be. No one would celebrate that pathetic trophy. Now, the Bristol Street Motors trophy, of course, that's elite level. And anyone would be delighted to get to the final of that. That's a proper footballing achievement. Back to the Football Manager for a moment. Rory's going to do a football, hopefully. Football has been done. I don't think it's interesting enough to be a series on its own. It probably has happened, and I've just never noticed because I don't care about the League Cup. I might have done it last year. People will tell me, Rory! Oh, Rory, you special boy! That's our first win in the league for 2 months. And now we're coming into games against the last 2 teams we beat. We could go 3 on the bounce here and be in a title race. Because this division's insane. Is the new stadium built yet? We've not got a new stadium. We're just having our existing stadium expanded. And it's due in March. I am streaming on Twitch as well, yes. We're live on Twitch and TikTok. Even though it might look that way sometimes. That is a football goal. Rory's suddenly becoming good. What a time to be alive. I may have got so used to playing wide that when I then had a team... I'm not sad about it still. When I then had a team come in and pack the middle, I didn't really have a plan B. Don't want to talk about it. You can get the assistant manager to pick roles and duties. Interesting. Is that on the I feel like I should probably know that. I imagine they would get it wrong, but that would probably be a good starting point. Just being moved forward into central midfield, even though you could be asked to play as a deep-lying playmaker in both roles and basically do the same job. You'll be massively penalised in the match engine for playing out of position as the centre mid, and that's bonkers. That is absolutely bonkers. The idea that you've got players who are natural wing-backs who can't play full-back, the fact that you've got right wingers who can't play right midfield, it's a nonsense. There needs to be more fluidity in the positions. We are thrashing this lot, by the way. Well, that's 3 wins in a row. What a difference that's made. Although still, we're only 6 points clear of Hamilton. It's an insane setup, this league. Oh, back to losing them. So now we'll lose 5 or 6 games in a row because we'll play all the good teams and then we'll loop back round and play the 3 or 4 we can beat again. And I guess this is just going to be the shape of our season. We'll win a little burst of matches, then have a rotten run, then win a little burst again, and now the rotten run starts again. And it feels very much out of my control. There's 4 teams we're better than and 5 teams who are better than us. But I just got a new one. Now I've got 2 PCs. Well, like 5. Everybody wins. I needed to get a new one anyway. I'd had the previous one for 3 years. Watching you flounder in the first couple of seasons at East Fife was entertaining. Only because you knew ultimately we were going to win. If you were watching me lose all the time, knowing full well there was no way to ever make it stop and it was just going to be that forever, I think that would get old fast. Are we back with the easy games yet? Because I'm fed up of losing all the time. Well, we've got one more game. Oh, it's a cup game. But then St Johnstone, Partick, Airdrie, they're the 3. They're the 3 we can beat easily. So they're going to be 3 wins. But let's go and lose to Ayr United first. Right, that's got us out of the cup. What league are they in? Oh, they are in the Premiership. Right, now we need to win our next 3 games. So Stallard comes in, almost immediately gets in a grumpy that we're not playing him, requests a transfer. We accept the transfer offer. He then says, actually, no, I'll stay. So we take him off the transfer list. We reject the offer, and now he can't be bothered to train properly. He just seems like a pain in the trousers. What's my budget? A negative number. Why are you always playing at St Johnstone every time I tune in? Because we have to play everyone 4 times a year. It's my left buttock. The Grant McCann derby. Goodness me. Yeah, singular buttock. Probably actually more hip than buttock that's aching. It's the same hip I hurt at Disneyland last year when Peter Pan broke my hip. Which should have been the title of a vlog. Psycho! Football! Come on then! Can't remember the last time I watched a Kev stream and he wasn't beleaguered by some ailment. I'm 41 years old and overweight. Get used to it. This is my life now. That's frustrating. What's my average viewer age? I don't know what the average age is, but the most common age group is 25 to 34. Yeah, that's not the ideal result for us, really. I mean, we're not in any danger of getting relegated, so we don't need to worry. It's just a case of seeing out the season at this point. There's no fear of relegation. No chance of promotion. We just need a fluky good striker to come in the summer. Unless this guy from Blackburn comes in now and is great and drags us into the playoffs this year. Oh, look at us knocking the ball around with ease. What a football team we are. Look at us go. Look at us go. Oh, what a goal. I love playing Partick Thistle. Being good at the game helps. I mean, with the amount of hours I put in, it's impossible not to win eventually. Look at us go. I mean, even saying I'm verbal and socially engaged makes me high functioning isn't really reflective of how the spectrum actually works. It's not a linear spectrum. It's not a case of you've got high functioning over here and low functioning over here. It also goes this way. So you have a range of all the different things you can be higher and lower functioning at. So there are things that are higher functioning and things that are lower functioning. I think I would really struggle to live on my own, for example. But obviously I can work, I can drive a car, I can go and do the shopping. But yeah, that's why they don't even put the high functioning, low functioning label on it anymore. I live on my own and I clean enough that I'm comfortable and stuff. Yeah, I mean, you all know the state of my office, the state of my desk. You saw the back of my monitor. We had the conversation about it isn't a priority for me to polish my monitor or whatever you want me to do with it. So all we needed to do to start scoring goals was sign a new striker, and everyone's like, oh God, he's going to take my spot. This is absurd. I hate this division. I hate it. This is ridiculous. We can't buy a win against the top 5 teams. We play a team 2 places below us and we're 7-0 up after an hour. Like a carer to come in, and I wouldn't have to go in, like if Hannah left me, I wouldn't need to go into supported living. But I'd need to find solutions for just like managing day-to-day life. Yeah, the cups on the table are a problem. But we've got enough cups. I mean, it's a case of working out the priority and working out what's a problem or what's not a problem. The cups on the table in and of themselves are not a problem. I can still work. It only becomes a problem when there's not enough cups in the cupboard. Our solution to the problem, we own too many cups. If all of our cups were clean and upstairs, they wouldn't all fit in the cupboard. I know that that Asperger is problematic as a name, as a person, as a history. The actual reason they don't diagnose Asperger's anymore, though, isn't that. It's that it's not a valuable diagnosis. Trying to break up the autism spectrum into different categories of autism isn't valuable. It's like trying to put a name to different grades of how wet water is. It's probably a bad example, but you know, it's just wet. It doesn't matter if it's this wet or that wet. It's wet. That's all the diagnosis needs to be. Right, who we play next? Airdrie. Are they a team that we traditionally beat in this little run? They are. I mean, look, it was the same last time. Couldn't buy a win and then beat Partick 4-0, Airdrie 5-0. It's a very odd league. I'm either following the rules or I'm not following the rules. There's no sometimes following the rules. That's why I'm fat in the first place. I've had 40 years of trying to do everything in moderation, and there is no moderation. I am binary. There's either yes or no. Are we back in the playoffs yet? I mean, we're not actually a million miles away. This is a ridiculous league. Absolutely ridiculous. Right, I don't want to get too overexcited, boys and girls, but 15 minutes after I sat down, I've still not turned the tens machine on. It's not hurting. The back is finally getting better. Probably too little, too late for me to go to Dortmund this weekend. Oh, for goodness sake, it's always the way against these teams that are better than us. 96th minute. It's hideous. Plus, you're the first one. No one's ever been through this curve before. No. Although, I mean, there are plenty of people who've been bigger FM creators and have dropped off or have stopped. I don't think there's anybody who's just... I don't think we've seen anyone yet who has continued making regular content and has just become irrelevant. That's my fear. I'm the first one of those. I'll be the first one of those. We are in negotiation with a company. Right. Is it 6 games to go? Yeah, 6 games to go. We're only 5 points outside of the playoffs. I mean, there's a chance, which after the season we've had is ridiculous, but there is a chance here because we've still got to play Hamilton, Partick Thistle, Airdrie. So those 4, they're the 4 worst teams in the division. So we've got 6 games left. 4 of them should be winnable. We could actually get back in the playoffs again here. Right. Can we do a football? No, apparently we can't. Brilliant. Well, I'm glad I didn't buy my dad tickets to this this Arsenal game for his birthday. Oh, fiddlesticks. Fiddlesticks. This probably kills off any hope we had of getting into the playoffs. Genuinely fear for the future of Sports Interactive as a company if FM25 is worse than 24. If it's buggy, they'll get away with that. But if it's actually a bad game, they have a serious problem. Yeah, I think that, I mean, on the topic of you becoming a full-time creator, PG, there's a big gap for someone to just be the FM console guy. I've been saying it for years. I said it about FM Mobile as well. All the Football Manager content is focused on the PC version, whereas the majority of the player base is now on console. As an established creator, I'm too much of a scaredy cat to take the risk and become the console guy. But for someone up and coming, be the console guy. Because the most common comment I get, certainly when I post any kind of tutorial or guide or tip or anything like that, the most common comment is, does this work on console? Can you show me how to do this on console? What about console? Someone needs to be the console guy. There are PC games but are now also on console and are exactly the same on console. And that's the user interface secret sauce that Sports Interactive need for 25 to make a proper leap forward. It needs to be the same game on PC as it is on platform, on console. Obviously, you can have the different control methods, but it needs to be the same game, same feature set, same game, to the point where you should be able to plug a controller into your PC and play the PC version with a controller. You should be able to plug a keyboard and mouse into your Xbox and be able to play that with a keyboard and mouse. It should just work. I mean, from a Sports Interactive perspective, from a Sega perspective, from a UEFA perspective, Premier League perspective, that's a massive benefit to the console. And if as a player, you really, really care about that, get it on PC. Console players don't care about modding. They're console players. It's only PC nerds who care about modding video games. If you're a console player, you don't care. You just want the game to be good. That's why they're console players. But the game needs to be the same game. It all sounds very Minecraft Java versus Bedrock. Yeah. And there shouldn't be a difference. And there is less of a difference now, isn't there? I have cloud saves on some Game Pass games on both PC and Xbox. It's fantastic when I travel. Yeah, it's great, isn't it? I remember my mind was blown, and it shouldn't have been. It was 2023 when it happened. But with Diablo 4, that's the most recent, what is it? Diablo 4. I played that loads when it first came out on PS5, and then it was in the Steam sale. So I got it on Steam, downloaded it on my Steam Deck, and was like, I really enjoyed it. I'll play it again. Loaded it up on my Steam Deck, logged into my, I forget the name of the company, the account, what the hell, Blizzard, logged into my Blizzard account, and all my PS5 saves were just there on my Steam Deck. And it was like, oh my word, this is how games should be. This is how all games should be. Because then it stops the console lot being left out. And also, from a really selfish content creator perspective, it means there doesn't need to be that console guy who comes on. It means that extra 4 or 5 million players who play exclusively on console all of a sudden recognize the game when they look at my content. And it potentially like trebles my audience just like that. So selfishly, goodness me, I hope they do that. Here you go. Here's a prediction for you. If they make it so it's exactly the same game on console and PC, before FM26 comes out, Zealand will have 1 million subscribers. If it's the exact same game on console as it is on PC. And there'll be a few of the rest of us who aren't far behind him. If it's the exact same game, Zealand will have 1 million subscribers, and then you'll have like me, Jack, Luke, Tom, we'll all have 500,000. Before FM26, it'll be sensational. And I try not to be too harsh on Sports Interactive, but my big fear is in the nicest possible way, they don't really get video games. It's almost like they consider themselves a football product first and not video game first. But I really hope it's the exact same game across console and PC. I don't think they have confirmed it, Mike. I think people reading between the lines, they've said it will be built in Unity on console and PC. The only version that's not moving to Unity straight away is mobile, I think, if I remember correctly. Right then, boys and girls, that has been form that has magically turned around towards the end of that stream. Almost as if, and I don't like to blow my own trumpet about what a genius I am, but it's almost as if all we needed was a goal a game striker and form would turn around. Who'd have thought? We've got 4 games left. We're 3 points behind Wraith Rovers. So 3 points outside of the playoffs. Our remaining 4 games are St Johnstone, Hamilton, Partick Thistle and Airdrie, i.e. the bottom 4 teams in the division. So we play the 4 worst teams in the league in our final 4 games, and we're only 3 points outside of the playoffs. We have the possibility to not only squeeze ourselves into the playoffs again, but this year go into them in incredible form as the form team, the momentum team, and with a striker that's scoring every game. This could be our year.